Was the show getting cancelled actually planned or an unexpected decision by the network? Is it possible that this was one of the first episodes after the writer's strike and we're seeing a bunch of storylines being rewritten at the last minute? I think that this could mean that the show is going to end up in the direction of... What's going on, everyone? It's Just B here, and I'm so excited to be back breaking down another episode of Power Book 2 Ghost Season 4 Episode 8 titled Higher Calling. I gotta be honest with you guys at this stage, I'm not sure how they're gonna land this plane. Some things looking really rocky. If you guys missed my predictions for the rest of the season, go back and check out my last breakdown video where I say what I think is going to happen. I usually have a pretty good success rate on those, but again, I can be wrong. Anyways, we're diving into the biggest parts of this episode right now. Let's go. So following up from Detective Felicia's death at the hands of Diana in episode 7, Detective Nico starts questioning Carter after he tells the department she died in a car accident. Now, one of the things I found particularly interesting about this scene was, is there anyone else at the precinct doing actual police work? It just seems like it's always the same dirty group talking about their side deals that they got going on. Like, is there a chief of police or a sergeant here who's overseeing the department? It just seems to be these guys. Because to me, Carter in this episode seems to be spending more time having meetings with criminals than doing actual police work. And that's just my opinion. Anyways, Nico didn't buy it, and now he's suspicious on why Carter is covering it up. So now we move on over to baby Tariq, partnering up with Monet and her family after being brought in forcibly by Carter in the last episode. But now they have put their heads together to orchestrate a series of events that honestly gets confusing. At one point, even I was like, what is going on? But essentially, they're trying to get Noma and Carter to go after one another, which by the end of the episode, both of them come to realize what's happening. So Detective Nico was approached by Noma and Cain directly to try to flip on Carter, but he squealed because he's loyal to him. And now we get to see these two antagonists, Carter and Noma, teaming up to go against our core characters. How do you guys think this is going to go ahead and play out? Let me know in the comments. Another major part of this episode was the fact that Elle ended up ODing on the product in her dorm room, which we end up finding out was laced with Fent, and combined with the fact that she also has sickle cell anemia. So she ends up in the hospital, and Braden's all upset and asks Tariq to come with him to get the guy who sold it to her, who we find out is actually named Steve. So they end up pulling up on him, they get rough, and then Braden, who is high on the product himself, gives him two in the face. At this moment, we see Tariq explodes on Braden because of how they didn't plan to do this, and it was at this point that I realized these two have been really sloppy with the trail of bodies that they've left this season. Think about this for a second, guys. First, we had Junior Valdez and how they took him out. Then we had Salim, who we still haven't heard anything on his investigation. And then Zion, and now Steven, all of which has not been followed up on, I might add. Now, either the writers are intentionally doing that or not intentionally doing that, which, if it's the latter, that's very bad. I mean, Detective Felicia, she had Tariq and Braden on camera taking out Zion, and now they were spotted walking into this building that Steve was staying at by the guy doing laundry downstairs, if you guys see the scene. And when Braden actually made the shots, his neighbors heard it. But I don't know, what do you guys think about it? Do you think anything's going to come out of this? Do you think all these trail of bodies being left behind in this fashion is intentional, or is it just the writers forgetting to kind of fill in the gaps on some of the holes that they're leaving? Let me know in the comments. So now we also get our first look at Effie's mother in this episode, who turned out to be just a random character, not another woman from a slew of other theories that people have been making prediction videos on. It's just a random person, like I always thought it would be. I never put too much into who I thought that her mother was going to be, because I just felt that the writers weren't really too interested in that. But we end up learning more about Effie and why she is the way she is. being neglected and rejected by her mother, which I feel is important to further appreciate the development of her character. She later confronts Cain about the fact that he and Noma are getting married and tells him how she was disappointed in him for not telling her at first, as she thought he was the only person who understood her. And in the end, after they talk it out, they end up resolving it seemingly in this scene. And just watching them, I gotta tell y'all, I just love them on screen together, man. Like, they got that chemistry, you know what I mean? That fire and desire, man. Like, they remind me of Unique and Rock from Raising Kanan, and I love it, how they shine on screen. Finally, moving on over to Cain and Noma. So obviously, again, one of the recurring points of this episode was the fact that they are engaged and getting married, which they say is strictly for business and for her to be able to legitimize her companies in the US to get the government contracts, which she can't do unless she marries a US citizen, i.e. Cain. The main core cast of characters end up coming to know this, such as Anya, who we see has her first interaction with Cain in this show, and was it just me or did they have some chemistry when she walked in his apartment? Just saying. What do you all think about it? So we see Davis being all jealous and wishing it was actually him and not Cain, and it would have probably been, like Noma says, if it wasn't for the fact that he was in the middle of a divorce himself. And again, I think I've made this point before, but I gotta make it one more time. It really is ridiculous to see strong, hard male characters like Davis and Cain simping after Noma. I mean, really? I love Method Man, I love Woody, but sheesh, come on, man. Like, personally, like I made in my predictions in the last breakdown video I did, guys want to go back and check that out if you haven't, I said where I thought how Noma is going to be a goner and also Carter is going to be before the end of the show. So I don't really expect this marriage storyline to go anywhere. Granted, again, we only have 2 episodes left. Hold on real quickly. You guys want to see something crazy? Over 99% of you guys that watch my content are not subscribed. So I'm asking real quickly, if you don't mind, just hit the like button and hit subscribe real quickly. I'd love to keep on giving this content to you guys and lets me know that people actually are interested. Feel free to do that, man. Really appreciate it a lot. Would help me out a long way in growing my small channel. Thanks. Now back to the video. And also, this was supposed to be episode 8 of the season. And usually within the Power universe of shows, episode 8, something big usually happens. Like last season, remember, it was Sax, longtime character in the Power universe, who got deleted off the show, which was a big thing and had huge ramifications. But this was kind of a nothing burger. Nothing, really kind of happened here in terms of exploding, in my opinion, which I'm starting to wonder, like I alluded to earlier, about my confidence in how this plane is going to land. Was the show getting canceled, planned, or unexpected? It seems as if we're in the episodes that started filming after the writer's strike, and now I'm curious. Are these storylines that we're seeing play out last-minute edits and revisions to try to scrap together something after a last-minute cancellation? If so, we might be in some problems for how the fans respond to the ending of this show, if that is the case. But again, just pure speculation. Let me know what you guys think, man, about this entire episode. Overall, in my opinion, I enjoyed it. Expect a little bit more bang, but overall, I think people like Alex Lepre and Lavelle Adams Gray, they did great in playing Effie and Drew in this episode in their performances. Overall, amazing performances, of course, by the entire cast. Shout out to the crew. Shout out to everyone who's working on the show, man. You guys were really phenomenal in how you're executing in the midst of some very complicated storylines. If you guys derived any value from this breakdown, feel free to hit the like button. Would really appreciate it. Drop your thoughts and theories and predictions in the comments. Let's have a conversation about it. Until next time, guys. Peace.